Are you sad? You might be. We're going to find out what to do on today's episode of Bond Life. In my last episode, I talked about how I was hating the heat and it just kind of drove me crazy, and I was like kind of depressed and then mad at everybody else and all this stuff. And then actually I started getting sad about it. And I kind of got depressed and I was like, what's going on here? This happens every spring. I'm like, what's going on? And then it was like kind of tingy of like remembering like suicidal thoughts I used to have when I was a kid, because this happens every year. And so I started looking it up, and I found there's a disorder called SAD, is the acronym for Seasonal Affective Disorder, which I've surprisingly never heard of before. And I study a lot of psychology, even just for kicks. So this was kind of like, why have I never heard of this? The symptoms include loss of interest in activities, withdrawal from social activities, sleep and appetite changes, and some even suicidal thoughts. And then I looked into all of these, and then I found out that suicide rates are actually at their all-time highest in May and actually April. So I thought that was really interesting. So I kept digging into that, and I kept pointing back to this seasonal affective disorder. I'm like, oh, that's really strange. It's fascinating. So I basically kind of looked at all these symptoms, and they're pretty typical of depression. And honestly, like I was saying in the other video, people always talk about having it in the winter, but it's actually rather common to have it in the spring and summer. There's this other added element to it, which I actually even mentioned in the video, which is anger and resentment and all of this stuff to everybody enjoying themselves and having fun and going out and having a good time in spring and summer. They withdraw even more so when somebody has the same disorder in the winter months, in the fall and winter. So I was like, oh, this is really neat. So the thing that makes this different than regular depression is it's just seasonal and it just happens reoccurring. So it's like, oh, okay, cool. It's this thing that's normally dealt with, and you just have to deal with it for a shorter period of time. So I was like, oh, cool, that's great. This is good news. So I basically self-diagnosed myself with a SAD here, and I was like, okay, cool. So how do I fix this? Because I don't like that. It sucks. And I'm also don't ever want to tell anybody about it or share how I feel, because everybody's like, oh, you can do in there. You stick in it, buddy. You're a champ. I hate hearing that crap. So I was like, if I'm going to talk about this, I'm going to solve it. So I kind of took a back seat for a little bit, and this is how I kind of figured it out. What I did is I was like, okay, so this seasonal affective disorder happens because of a change of a season, something that's beyond our control. So there's the one thing that there's change beyond our control. Then there's the relation to everyone else. So you feel a little bit worse, but everybody's going up. So that difference is like really weird and really like depressing, to lack of better terms. So there's those two things. I was like, okay, we'll just stick with those for now. And I was like, all right, so I have to change. All right, good. You know what? I actually like changing. I just didn't like it that it was kind of forced upon me. So I was like, all right, so fine, I'll change, but I'm going to change how I want to. I'm not going to change into this depressive state. So I'm like, all right, cool. So you know what I'm going to do? I'm going to kind of change my diet or something. So I'm going to kind of maybe drink more water, something small, just a baby step, and just kind of just like, okay, cool, I'll do this. This is one thing. I'm going to maybe open my shades a little more. I don't really know. I'm testing things out, but just the idea of being back in control and making decisions myself, not because all of a sudden it's warm out and I'm angry. Like now it's just up to me and me being like, okay, cool. No, this is how it is. Just tackle it and be fucking smart about it. Like get your shit together. So I was like, all right, cool, change. And then the next thing with the contrast of other people, one of my least favorite characteristics of anybody that I talk to is when they're always comparing themselves with others. So I was like, oh, fuck, like I'm doing that. So I'm making deliberate change to figure out why I was doing that and kind of stop giving a fuck, really. Like, which is sometimes hard to do, but most of the time I do it really well. So I've got to figure out how to dial that in, and it's going pretty good actually. It's not that hard once I started going. So really that was it. So change on purpose and stop giving a fuck. And you know, that's really kind of like what I was doing. It's all in my head. It's all in your head anyways. So you have the power to change it. I did. And now I feel awesome. And sometimes it's cruising, then it goes blip, and I'm like, oh fuck. And I catch myself, but I'm aware now. And I'm in control, not the fucking weather. So hopefully that helps somebody out, because I would have loved to hear about this 10 years ago. So until next time, peace. All right, so in my last episode, I talked about... What is that? So in my last episode, I talked about... What is that sound?